What's going on, guys? Alex here with TFL Off-Road. I'm here at ERX Motorsports Park just outside of Minneapolis, Minnesota, and I've got some cool Polaris machines behind me. Right there in blue and green is the all-new 2022 Polaris Ranger SP570. It's their new mid-size work machine from Polaris, so today we're gonna take it for a ride, show you all the features. Here's the full review on the all-new Ranger SP570. So like I said, this is the mid-size machine and it comes in two configurations as far as seating goes. So this is the crew model here, which seats 4, and then you also have the shorter wheelbase version, which is just the 2-seater right here. But this is the mid-size Ranger, so you can see it right next to the full-size Ranger. Quite a bit smaller, more nimble, easier to park, easier to store, better on tighter trails. And overall just a much smaller package than the full-size 1000 Ranger. Now the Ranger, of course, is made to do work, and we'll get to all the utility features in a little bit, including the dumping box. But when I pull up the dumping bed right there, you can get a look at the engine. This is their 567cc ProStar engine. It's a 4-stroke, single-cylinder, dual overhead cam. It makes 44 horsepower, and it's linked to their automatic PVT. They did make some changes to it when you compare this to the outgoing Ranger 570. So the new SP570 has a Beefier clutch. It's been upsized and retuned for more strength and durability, but also low-speed drivability. So not quite as jerky as the old one used to be. It's easier to control at low speeds, and many of the clutch parts are the same as what they use in the full-size Ranger, the 1000. So you know it's a beefy clutch. And while we're under here, you can take a look at the exhaust. They rerouted it and they also redesigned it, so now it is not quite as loud. Polaris said that was one of their big complaints with the old Ranger 570, was that it was too loud when it was idling and riding around. So now it's quieter and supposed to be easier to communicate with passengers and just easier to talk to people around you with a quieter engine. You have on-demand 2-wheel drive and all-wheel drive, but also a turf mode, which unlocks the rear diff and makes it easier to make tight turns. You don't get so much crabbing. Even though this is the mid-size Ranger, it definitely still has a fun amount of power, making 44 horsepower. You can tell that this is not a pure sport machine, and that's especially noticeable in the suspension, but on tight technical trails like this one, the SP570 still eats it up. Polaris has also improved the interior comfort of this vehicle compared to the outgoing models. So the seats are now softer, they have a new material, new padding on the inside, but also the dash has been moved forward a little bit, so that gives you more legroom. It's really easy to get in and out of this vehicle. Plenty of legroom for me. And you know, being that there's no bolster on the seat, it's really a flat seat. Yeah, it's not gonna hug you in super tight when you're going on trails, but super easy to get in and out of for doing things around the property. Utility on this machine is incredibly impressive for the size it is, especially when you look at the 2-seat model. There is so much storage on the interior. So 2 seats, 2 seat belts made for 2 people. 4 cup holders though, so 2 up top, you've got another 2 right there down below, and then just a crazy amount of storage cubbies. So 1 down here by the driver's left knee, pretty big open space right there. You also have a little cell phone holder up top here, so you can plop your phone in there and it's not really gonna go anywhere, and gives you easy access to it while you're riding around. You've got 1 more little cubby down here for some smaller odds and ends, although it doesn't have any kind of lip on it, so it would be pretty easy for some things to fly out of there. While we're here, 2 12-volt ports here and here, so you can power some accessories. Another one of these massive cubbies down here, you can fit a whole lot of stuff in that one. A 3rd one over on this side, so same sort of deal where it has this plastic mesh on the outside. We have a little glove box here, which is very deep. The door doesn't look that big, but once you open it up, you've got plenty of space in here, and there is a little bit of weather sealing on it, so hopefully dust and water will stay out of there. And then you've got, on some of the models, little nets right here. This one doesn't have it, but you can put a net here. You can see kind of the whole drill hole provisions where you would drill that into. And then last but not least, if I lift the seat up, tons of storage under the seat. So you've got, you know, your fuel tank, your battery, easy access to all that stuff. But then you've got this huge cubby in the center, and here's my helmet. This is a full face showy dirt bike helmet. It is not a small helmet by any means, but I can pop that down in there. Little bit of a tight fit. Not gonna fit much more in there besides that. Kind of gotta get the seat belts up and out of the way. But then, you know, full face helmet, fully out of view. That is super cool. Tons and tons of storage under that seat. And now for the cargo box. This new cargo box is 30% larger than the outgoing model. Tons of storage in here. It is the same size box on the 2-seater and the 4-seater, which is nice to see. So if you go with the bigger wheelbase to fit more people, you don't lose any bed space. Over 12 feet of cubic storage in this bed right here. There's tons of different mounting provisions. You have 17 different lock and ride system holders that, if you know Polaris, you should know those pretty well by now. But also lots of other things like bed dividers, so you can cut a 2x4, stick it in there, divide your bed up a little bit. Tie down points at the corners, and something pretty cool actually, pretty subtle, but there's these little indents for 5-gallon buckets, 3 of them, so you can load buckets up and put them back here, and they're not going to go sliding around your bed, and you can still use the rest of the bed for other stuff. 500-pound payload capacity in the bed here, which is pretty impressive for a mid-sized machine like this. And like I showed you earlier, it is a one-handed operation with assist struts, so super easy. You can do it by yourself on one side and even have, you know, a full load of, let's say, firewood, and really you don't have to struggle getting this bed open, which is good to see. Let's pop that back down. Single hand operation for that as well. And in the back you do have a 2-inch receiver, comes standard on all the SP570s, and this can tow 1,500 pounds. So in pretty much all aspects, using this for work, it's really no slouch at all. So yeah, overall, really impressive, you know, for a machine that's built to work, and definitely is pretty capable. 500 pounds in the bed, 1,500 pound towing capacity, standard with a 2-inch receiver, ready for a plow, winch, all that stuff. For a vehicle made to do all that work, plenty of fun out on the trails. So, you know, if you're buying something for pure recreation, probably go with a General or a Razor. The General if you want to do work with it once in a while. But you know, if you're doing mainly work, if you want a small, nimble machine that's not quite as expensive or quite as hard to store as the big 1000s, this is a good option. I wouldn't think twice about whether or not it would be fun out on the trail. It's definitely a lot of fun. I learned that the hard way. The new Ranger SP570 has an all new look. It looks much more macho and has that, you know, kind of full-size truck look to match the rest of the Ranger lineup, match the 1000 machines. So I think they did a pretty good job with that. You have a really large steel front bumper up front to keep you protected. And this machine is only 56 inches wide. So like I said, easy to park, easy to get on tight trails, and just easy to maneuver in small areas when you might be working or having fun. All right, let's talk about wheels and tires. So you're looking at a 25-inch tire right here. As far as ground clearance goes, you have an extra inch of ground clearance with this new model compared to the outgoing Ranger 570. So 11 inches of ground clearance on this model. That's for the 2-seater. You're gonna have a half an inch less on the 4-seater, down to 10.5 inches. 9 inches of front suspension travel. You can get a good look at the Sachs front shock there. And then going around back, you have 10 inches of suspension travel in the rear. And you know, no Walker Evans suspension, nothing crazy. This is a work machine, but you do get dual rate springs, and the ride height is slightly adjustable as well. So you can, you know, crank it up a little bit if you know you're gonna be hitting the trail, and then take it back down when you get back to the property and start using this for work again. Now obviously this green machine and the blue one right here look very different. There's tons of accessories available for these machines. So one of the ones you can see on this vehicle right here are the mesh doors. So instead of having a full hard door, you just have a net instead. This one right here has some canvas doors. It also has a front plastic windshield with some vents cut into the front of it. And I really like the look of the canvas doors. They've got these zipper windows on them right here, so you can get some airflow going, especially with the vents up front. Still a latching door with weather sealing on the inside. Here's those nets I was talking about earlier that aren't in that green model right there. So lots of accessories available, but there's also a top trim called the North Star Edition, which gets you a lot of extra features. So let's go take a look at that. And as promised, here is that North Star Edition right here. So you can tell it's the North Star by the custom embroidery on the seats there. But that gets you this fully enclosed cab right here with a glass windshield wiper with fluid on it, and a heating system to keep you nice and warm in the winter if you're using this for plowing. You also have crank down windows right here. So Tommy would be a huge fan of that with his Willys Jeep. And you also get a 3,500 pound winch up front. It automatically stops, so you can just mash that button on the dashboard till it comes in. You don't have to worry about your winch cable going too far in there. So that's nice to see. That comes standard on the North Star Edition. You also get upgraded tires on the North Star Edition for a little bit additional tread, so you can see better sidewall tread on this when compared to the standard model over there. They are still 25-inch tires though, so same size tire, but just a little bit of a better tread. And then coming over to this side here, if I lift the seat up, you also get a bigger battery and electrical system on the North Star Edition. So if you're running plows, extra lights, extra accessories, just makes it that much easier to power all that stuff. And also maybe you have a second home where you keep this at and you use it for property maintenance up there and you don't really go there all that much. It's going to be easier to start when the time comes to finally get this going again. So there you go guys, there's the all-new 2022 Polaris Ranger SP570, a machine that is definitely built for work, but still plenty fun out on the trails and really, really capable if you want to get some work done in a small package that, you know, isn't quite as expensive as the full-size machines, easier to park. It's a good package all around. Pricing starts at $10,500 and they are available now, so if you want to check one out, go head on over to your Polaris dealership. But that's it for now. Don't forget to head on over to TFLoffroad.com so you don't miss any stories in the off-road world, and we'll catch you in the next video.